Performance or the function of Parliament and the duties of MPs extend beyond plenary sittings of Parliament. Again, as you are aware, the parliamentary calendar acknowledges elections campaign periods. This season is for the government, parties, and both presidential and parliamentary candidates to present their manifestos to the people and to account and justify how the mandate given them by the voters for the 4-year term of office has been applied to the benefit of the people. It continues that, bearing in mind the provisions of Article 296A and B of the Constitution and the closeness of your proposed dates to the general election, I am of the considered opinion that it will not be in the national interest to interrupt the campaigns of members of Parliament by a recall to a plenary sitting of Parliament. Consequently, it will not be fair to exercise my discretion in favor of your request to summon MPs at this time for a 2-day sitting to consider 22 items that you say are urgent or outstanding government business. Again, Brace, I should note that in that article that was published by the Speaker's lawyers yesterday, mention was made of Article 296 that having to do with the use of discretion and whether or not it is arbitrary or capricious or made in such a way that, in that kind of sense, the Speaker of Parliament again refers to some of these provisions in this letter.
But the Speaker gives an assurance that the House will be recalled promptly after the election.
Well, yes, exactly. The Speaker starts on that firm note and says that he is not going to recall Parliament because that will mean disrupting the campaign of several members of Parliament. And he also says this is a time where people have to go to the electorate and account to them. But he says right after the election, he's open to recalling Parliament. In fact, on his own volition. Let me read. He says, it is worth noting that having regard to the practice and deliberations of the House, I wonder how the proposed 22 items could be transacted within 2 days. I accordingly suggest that government prioritizes this business together with others not captured by a memo for consideration after the conduct of the general elections on the 7th of December. The House will resume sitting after the elections to complete all essential matters before a seamless transition to the 9th Parliament of the Fourth Republic. And this line is interesting. The Speaker says the national interest will be better served if members exhibit conduct of honor, empathy, and humility in the performance of their duties. In these circumstances, I am neither inclined nor disposed to exercise my discretion in favor of your request. The request is accordingly declined.
And the last paragraph before the concluding paragraph is quite one that is a food for thought anyway. I'm grateful to you, Kwekwa Asante, for joining us here. There's a stop story here on Joy. And Top Story, as always, is brought to you by Telecel, connecting energies and Holy Insecticide Spray and Coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Let's bring in the First Deputy Majority Whip, Habib Idrisu. He will be joining us, but we have on the line now Roxanne Nelson, the Fiamapo, his MP for South Dai. I'm grateful to you for joining us, Roxanne. So, I mean, the Speaker says a big no.
Thank you very much. I'm privileged to have joined you.
The Speaker says a big no to the MPP caucus of the House that he won't recall. Your reaction?
It's in order, given the exigencies of the times. I believe that Speaker's exercise of discretion has been well grounded in this matter in declining the request. But let me say, by way of making a legal point, can we say, for instance, that Speaker's response to the memo for a recall by the leader of government business amounted to interpretation of Article 296 in this case?
He was called upon to recall the House, and he's giving his verdict.
Yes, and that called for exercising a function of office pursuant to a constitutional provision, isn't it? I want to urge the leader of government business to go back to the Supreme Court to determine whether or not, in exercising his discretion in this matter, to decline the request was proper. You see, so this is the kind of absurd consequences you can get yourself into when you pursue certain matters. Because every day, constitutional office holders are called upon to perform certain constitutional functions pursuant to a certain constitutional provision. So you cannot be running to court anytime such a function is performed. What Speaker has done could not have amounted to interpreting a constitutional provision. But anyway, that's where we are.
But I mean, declaring a seat vacant is quite different from deciding to
it is
not to record the House.
You see, it is not Speaker who has declared the seat vacant. The Constitution says when certain events occur, you must vacate your seat. So it is not Speaker that is declaring the seat vacant. It is because those events have occurred, so he must make those pronouncements. It's a pronouncement that A has happened, so B must occur.
But we all realized how those of you who know the law were divided in terms of the real meaning of that provision. So it was important.
Divided. Somebody decided to create a division.
Oh, but we listened to several of you lawyers.
Yes, I agree. I agree. But somebody decided to create a division on that matter. But in any case, we are saying that the request for a recall has been justifiably declined by Speaker. And this Speaker made
Roxanne, do I still have you?
the House operate. How do you expect to conduct 22 prioritized business of government in 2 days?
But couldn't you members have agreed to probably tackle part of it if the Speaker had decided to recall the House?
So why don't you list one business or two business, or at least why don't you prioritize what you think can be effectively performed by the House or considered by the House? Why do you have to list 22 businesses? Why? And if you check, these same businesses of government featured in the memo to Speaker on the 31st of July. That memo for a recall. This same businesses featured. We came. They couldn't pursue it. Again, when they recalled the House, the last one before this, these same businesses featured. They came to Parliament and walked out on their own business. So to a lot of us and to a lot of Ghanaians, these businesses are no priorities at all. How does the grant of a tax waiver a prioritized matter? How?
Stay with me. Let me bring in Dr. Rashid Rahman. He is Executive Director for the Africa Center for Parliamentary Affairs. Doc, I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Now, you were, yesterday when we were speaking, in conclusion, you spoke about how MPs must watch how they involve the courts in the running of Parliament. And you sort of, draw the conclusion that it could possibly be a contributory factor to where we are. To what extent has the court influence the Speaker's conclusion based on where you arrived at yesterday?
Well, I believe, I don't know, maybe this is a question that the Speaker myself would have to answer, but I think, very strongly that, the interference of the court in the business of Parliament has weighed heavily in this decision that the Speaker came to. Because I've heard many members of Parliament, particularly from the NDC group, say that the court can decide whatever they want to decide, but they don't run, the court doesn't run Parliament. And we are seeing in this particular instance, particularly because the Right Honourable Speaker was asked to use his discretion, I believe he will say okay, let me use the powers that I also have, and if you want, go and ask the court to force Parliament to come and sit. I mean, that is where we are. And you know, as I indicated yesterday, the letter from Honorable Afinyomakin, the memo was one that was framed in the spirit of conciliation, in the spirit of trying to bring the House together, in the spirit of maybe cooperating with the Right Honorable Speaker. But I would have thought that maybe this would have come much earlier at the beginning of the crisis, because some of us at the beginning of the crisis said, look, you can't use legal tools to resolve what looks like maybe a political problem that could be solved by the two sides, including the speaker, sitting down and talking. Albeit, I think nobody paid attention to that. And so this is where we are. And I can tell you, even when Parliament is recalled, I believe Honorable Dafiameko and his colleagues, I am sure they are going to comb and scrutinize every little thing on the floor of the House, from a legal point of view. Even things that were allowed to pass in the past now are going to be subjected to some legal scrutiny at every step of the way. So the drama is not over yet. And the few days that we are going to have after the elections will be days that we have to watch. Particularly also the outcome of the elections would also determine a lot of things. For instance, in the event that the NDC MPP is returned as the ruling party, we are going to see the NDC maybe bruised from the elections, and then also angry from what the Supreme Court did, and summing the two up would mean that they are not going to maybe cooperate with the other side. If the MPP doesn't get returned, that would also mean that most of what they are trying to do now likely would not be allowed to pass. Okay. Because the other side is going to say you can't commit a future government to maybe some of these things that we don't agree to.
Now, if you read Speaker's memo, he quotes, he says, and I quote, bearing in mind the provision of Article 296A and B of the Constitution 1992 and the closeness of your proposed date to the general elections, I am of the considered opinion that it would not be in the national interest to interrupt the campaigns of members and parties by a recall to plenary sitting of Parliament, unquote. Now, how do we determine national interest here? Is it the businesses to keep government running, or the campaigning for someone to be in Parliament?
Well, I think, I believe it's a combination of both, particularly when you get to elections. You know, if this controversy didn't arise, I believe that by now Parliament would have been on recess to allow members to campaign. And as the Right Honourable Speaker said, at this time, MPs are coming to us to account for the mandate that we give them. And I think this opportunity is only provided once every 4 years. So that would mean that you weigh the two. Government business is a continuum, but elections are only held every 4 years. So you weigh the two. I believe maybe that's what led the Right Honourable Speaker to that conclusion.
But and again, earlier we had parties, for example, the national chairman of the NDC had given, urged his MPs not to attend to Parliament if it is recalled. Now, just yesterday, we had the flag bearer of the NDC also say that MPs must not go to Parliament if it is recalled before election. Can party executives issue directive to MPs not to attend to Parliament? And what does that mean, really?
No, I think that one I totally is one that I think it might be too much of an intrusion into the space of Parliament, because I think parties issuing directives directly to their members about how to conduct themselves is something that some of us have spoken against in the past. When NDC, we had a situation where many said the party chairman was in Parliament, directing MPs in terms of what to do. And then when at another time, the General Secretary of the MPP issued directives to their members. I think that we have to encourage the parties to desist from that, because it pits the parties, the MPs in Parliament against the people that they represent. Because at the end of the day, there is a balance that is needed. Party interest, national interest, individual interest, and so on. But we always say, in parliamentary research and practice, the weight of your kind of allegiance should be more to the citizens and to the Constitution, even if you pay attention to party interests and some president who is powerful and directing things. So all to say, I think it's in bad taste when we have parties, trying to direct, members of Parliament in terms of how to behave in the House after they have been elected.
Is it a foregone conclusion now, based on the Speaker's memo, that Parliament cannot be recalled until after the election? Is there anything the majority, the MPP caucus in the House can do?
No, there's nothing they can do, because time is not on their side. Because if they went through, you see, that is, if you read the memo, the leader of government business and majority leader went through a provision that did not mirror what they have used in the past. That is the provision where 10% or is it 15% have to sign
orders, 50%.
Petition.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. If he had gone through that, that would not have been reconciliatory. That would have been trying to force the hand of the Speaker. So he rather went on another provision, which is good because we need reconciliation and so on. And that provision is at the discretion of the Speaker. But if you had gone through the previous, there would have been time that is, needed within which the Speaker must act. And maybe that time, 1 week, 1.5 weeks, or 10 days, or whatever it is, they don't have that time now.
It could have been a total of 14, because it says the Standing Orders 53.1 says, despite any other provision, 15% of members of Parliament may request a meeting of Parliament, and the Speaker shall, within 7 days after the receipt of the request, summon Parliament. 2, Parliament shall convene within 7 days after the issuance of the notice of sermon. So it could probably have still gone beyond the election.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
I'm grateful to you, Doctor, for joining us here on
Thank
this.
You very much.
Let me bring in Roxanne Nelson, Dafelpo again. Roxanne, so what's your expectation of what will happen in Parliament after the elections when, like Speaker says, it is reconvened?
Now, hello?
I'm here with you.
Yes, let me make the point that political parties have a role to play in terms of how they discipline their members that they sponsor to Parliament. When the caucuses walk out, for instance, on a certain business on the floor, when they walk out, when they turn their back on that business, they don't do so whimsically. They don't do so through moto. They do so in concert with the party hierarchy. So when my national chairman says, don't go to Parliament when there's a recall, technically speaking, he says I should go to Parliament, but I should walk out on the business that's on the floor. When my flag bearer says that don't go to Parliament, focus on your seat and retain it, technically speaking, he's telling me that when you go to Parliament, there's a business, walk out and go and do something else. So walking out on the business of the House is a normal practice that we engage in. So don't let anybody say that when national chairman says members of the NDC caucus don't go to Parliament, flag bearer says members of the NDC don't go to Parliament, it amounts to an intrusion. I disagree with that.
Okay, all right.
Second, my expectation is that the leader of government business will appreciate that it takes consensus to handle businesses on the floor and to conduct business in Parliament. Holding press conferences, haranguing speaker, calling him all sorts of names, insulting him from head to toe, won't serve anybody's purpose. These are office holders, constitutional office holders.
Okay.
He wants to be treated with decorum, and so he must extend that to the speaker. You saw how speaker addressed him in this statement.
Yeah.
In response to his memo.
All right.
Decorous language. That is what is expected of all of us.
Thank you, Roxanne. I'm grateful to you for joining us here. Roxanne Nelson, the Apawu is MP for South Dai. This has been Top Story, brought to you always by Telecel, connecting energies and holy insecticide spray and coil. Enjoy a holy sleep. Up next is Newsnight.
There's a business in every woman, from the young lady brimming with exciting and novel business ideas to the market queen managing her empire. There's the she architect, quantity surveyor, realtor, business consultant, crafting dreams into reality, and the multitasking mom seamlessly blending work at home. The entrepreneur, meticulously checking stock, to the corporate woman sealing deals on the move. Indeed, there's a business in every woman. Introducing Telecel Women in Business, our initiative to empower women-led and women-owned enterprises. Benefit from tailored activities, networking, business and technical support, free webinars, trainings, and more. To join this initiative, be a female-led business and a Telecel business customer. Visit telecel.com.gh/business to register now.
Telecel, connecting energies.
Couldn't sleep at night. Mosquitoes will be whining my ears, bugging me all night long. Till I got a remedy. Now I'll be spraying them away with holy insecticide spray. Me I go spray them away with holy insecticide spray. When I sleep, me dana with holy insecticide spray.
Holy mosquito coil, holy multi-purpose insecticide spray. Ghana Kron Kron. For bulk purchase, call 0302-681582. This advert is FDA approved.
The luckiest
star 712#.
Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah.
Welcome and now for a daily star 712# and found no regrets. A Sankoma investors are a striking gold. A Sankoma health workers are a diagnosing luck with precision. A Sankoma that tough guy who couldn't hold back his tears. Say a Sankoma passionate fan on also entering containing a joy. Afraid to the stressor or turning a hard-earned stitches into a bundle of happiness. And now, a Sankoma, if you say your next big win is right here.
Star 712#. Luck is everywhere.
Dial star 712# and join the luckiest winning celebration. From the 1st of July 2024, dial star 712# to keep buying tickets as a group, individual, or even as a community. Win loads of cash and prizes in the community draw or go for the grand draw on the 30th of November 2024. Unlock your luck with star 712#. Join the winning streak now.
The luckiest
star 712#.
Luck is everywhere for everyone, yeah. The luckiest.
Your game is weak. I'll consume, just like your party's policies. No wonder you are heading straight to the opposition this election.
Come on, bro. With your 24 hours something, are you trying to say the chop bar woman will be 7 before at 12 midnight?
And you, with your digitalization talk, how is that going to help the chop bar woman sell more fufu and soup? Are we going to use credit card at the chop bar?
Hey, you two, enough of this back and forth wahala. Politics and governance isn't just about manifestos and empty promises. It demands a comprehensive plan. That's why Alan Chemating is bringing the Great Transformational Plan, GTP. Listen, the GTP is about real change. It is built on 6 key clusters. First up, the economic cluster. This is about fixing the economy, creating jobs, supporting local businesses, particularly small businesses, and helping our farmers, fishermen, and those in tourism to grow. Next is the governance cluster. Under this, Alan is focused on fighting corruption, strengthening our institutions, and ensuring transparency. No more shady deal. It is also about deepening local governance and decentralization.
Wow.
Wait, there's the infrastructure cluster. We are talking about better roads, railways, reliable energy, digital services, and real housing for all. Not just empty talk. The social services cluster also focuses on healthcare, quality education, and support for the youth and the vulnerable. Everyone deserves a fair chance. And the environment cluster is about managing our natural resources to create wealth, addressing climate change, and promoting sustainable environmental practices. We want to leave a clean Ghana for the next generation. Finally, the behavioral and mindset change cluster highlights how we Ghanaians can realize a change in conduct to be better and more responsible citizens. Imagine this: jobs, quality healthcare, real education, and leadership with integrity. That's true transformation.
Ali, the GTP is indeed a game changer. Wow. So where can I get a copy?
Don't worry, I will get you one. So I ask you, when I say vote Alan Chematin, what do you say?
It's 10 days to the 2024 presidential and parliamentary elections. Hashtag Stop Galamsey Now, so on. Hello, good evening and welcome to Newsnight. Tonight, voting on the Sabbath is contrary to our understanding of the sanctity of the Sabbath day. That was the position of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, which charged the over 500,000 members to prayerfully reflect on what their choice will be on December 7. That was in July. Tonight, we ask, what is the official position of the church presently? But what is clear is that the church has softened its stance on the use of its over 300 facilities on election day. Also tonight, as we prepare towards the signing of the 4th Presidential Elections Peace Pact tomorrow on peaceful elections, non-violence and justice, will the NDC's presidential candidate John Dramani Mahama pledge for peace by appending his signature.
All previous declarations have not been adhered to, and those declarations have not solved any problem. You have violence, whether you sign declaration or not.
However, the organizers are optimistic all the parties will sign and commit to the content of the pact.
Our plea is, let bygone be bygone. Not that we forget it. No sensible person can forget his past.
We'll get to hear from the various political parties, plus the push by the media coalition against illegal mining, asking presidential candidates to commit to sign Galamsey Pact to indicate commitment to fighting the menace.
LI has not been repealed. All of those issues still exist. So it is important that especially the NDC presidential candidate, the MPP presidential candidates would have to all commit to this particular pact that we want signed.
And it's 3 days to the free kidney dialysis rollout, but some hospitals, including the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital, are yet to receive additional dialysis machines that they were requesting. However, the NHI assures all is set for a smooth rollout.
So what I'm just trying to let you know is that 45 of these machines will be delivered and for this exercise. But in our 2025 budget, we will definitely be procuring more.
In business, Bank of Ghana moves to mop up excess liquidity as the new Ghana gold coin goes on sale.
And in sports, GFA announces 1-week competitions break for December 7 general elections.
That's and more in this evening's edition of Newsnight. We're live on Joy 99.7 FM here in Accra and Kumasi on Love 99.5 FM. We're on myjoyonline.com. We're on all our social media platforms. You can hit us with the hashtag Newsnight. Also, via WhatsApp is 055 11 997. Thanks for sticking with us. Let's dig in now and start off from this issue that generated a lot of talk, some controversy in the country earlier this year. And it's about the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Ghana, SDA. We know after that controversy in July this year, they served a reminder to their members about the church's position on voting on the Sabbath day. Well, this was after the unsuccessful attempt to push for a change in the December 7 date for this year's polls, which falls on a Saturday, which is observed as a Sabbath day by the church. Well, the memo, that internal memo that we've seen a copy of, signed by the presidents of the Southern and Northern Conferences of the Church in Ghana, is emphatic that voting on the Sabbath is contrary to the understanding of the sanctity of the Sabbath day. Well, that internal memo begins or opens by saying that the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Ghana recognizes the civic responsibility of its members to participate in the democratic process, including exercising their right to vote. However, we wish to reiterate our long-standing conviction that voting on Saturday, the Sabbath of the Lord, is not in alignment with our religious beliefs. We wish to reiterate what the church stands for and advocates, and starts by saying, 1, Sabbath as a sacred day. The Sabbath observed from sunset on Friday to sunset on Saturday holds deep spiritual significance for Adventists. It is a day dedicated to worship, rest, and communion with God. Our long-standing conviction and teaching have been that members should not engage in non-religious activities, including voting. Voting on the Sabbath is therefore contrary to our understanding of its sanctity. Well, portions of it, they've talked about how they've made efforts toward the election date change that was back then in July, and how unsuccessful that has been. And it closes by talking about no political endorsement, amongst others, and that their focus during Sabbath gatherings should be worship, spiritual growth, and fellowship. And concludes by saying that, in summary, the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Ghana respects the right of its members to vote. However, on the matter of voting on Saturday, we urge members to prayerfully ensure that their decisions are consistent with the Adventist belief on the sanctity of the Sabbath. And this is a release for all Adventist churches in Ghana. That was in July 2024, and it's signed by Dr. Thomas Teshi Okran. He's the president for the Southern Ghana Union Conference, and Pastor Dr. Kwame Ano Boahin, the president, Northern Ghana Union Conference for Kumasi. Well, let's take a look at what the position of the church is today. Is the main concern for many as we prepare just 10 days to the polls. Let's bring in my colleague Kofi, and I know him also as an Adventist. So definitely, let's talk about this. First, tell us about the population of the church and how this is crucial in this year's election.
Well, when you are actually considering the Adventist population, it is important to consider baptized members, because the Adventist Church only recognizes you as a member if you are baptized. And so when we are talking about membership, children are excluded. Okay. According to the church's official data, as of June 2022, the church's population was 395,374, so almost close to 40,000 members scattered across the length and breadth of the country. Now, if you do a disaggregation of this data, you realize that majority is actually in the southern side of the country, where about 9 churches make up more than 50% of this 300, close to 400,000 members that we are talking about. Okay. And so if you are looking at the regions, possibly that will be hit. It's possibly in the southern part of the country, which comprise of the Greater Accra region, Central region, Western, Volta region, and the Eastern region as well.
Well, I'm sure you've been trying to break down the data. Do we know how many of these members are able to vote? You've mentioned that children are not counted, but above 18 that are able to participate in this particular election.
Well, in fact, to be baptized in the Adventist, you must be matured. So you have to attain a certain age, go through the Sabbath school, and then also pass some certain examination that the church will also send you through. And then we believe that by the time you get to, let's say about 15 years, you should be baptized. So considering that, then we should know that there could be about more than 300,000 church members who will be eligible to vote in this year's election.
Okay. We also know the church has a number of significant facilities which are usually giving out as polling centers during national elections. You know how many there are?
Well, so the church itself has more than 20,000 facilities across the length and breadth of the countries. But the data we are getting from the EC in terms of what the church has allowed to be used as polling stations in this year's election is about 345. And if we do the disaggregation, looking at it from church premises to be used for polling station, we are talking about 135. A majority is actually in the Greater Accra region, just like I put it. Greater Accra region has about 33 church facilities which will be used as polling stations in this year's election. In the Ashanti region, we're talking about 32. Western North 10. And in Bono 14. Bono East is about 14 as well. Upper West 1. Northeast is also 1, Upper East 1, and Western region 3 church facilities, Central region 4. Now, if you go to the SDA schools, that will be used as polling centers for this year's election. That's the majority, 214 of them. And still Greater Accra, here it is the Ashanti region that's leading, 65. SDA schools that will be used as polling centers in this year's election. Western region is 17, Central region 15, Greater Accra here is about 7, Volta region 5, Eastern region 22, Ahafo 9, Bono 21, Bono East 43, Oti region 3, and Northern region 6. And we can talk about the Savannah region, which also has 1 school that will be used as a polling center.
Okay. Well, Kofieji, you're my colleague, but permit me to put you on the spot. You're an Adventist. Are you voting on December 7th?
Well, I mean, I have actually read the church's internal memo, and then I know that it is not compelling anybody to vote or not to vote. But what we understand is that the church is leaving the decision to every individual to make that important decision. Okay. But what we are also learning from the internal memo that was circulated is that the church has actually allowed their facilities to be used, and we are also learning that the church is encouraging corporate worships. It means that if you are in a district, we use the district. So if you're in a district and you have about, let's say, 6 churches, and majority are being used as polling centers, then the church is encouraging you to organize a corporate worship, use just one church. If that main mother church is being used as also a corporate a voting center, then the church is advising that you also look for a private place to also fellowship. So I mean, it's an open decision at the moment.
Well, you've cleverly wiggled your way out of the question, but I'll leave it because you're my colleague. That's Kofieji. He's a data analyst here at Joinees. But let me bring in a member of the SDA communication team, Dr. James Kwabena Bonfe. We are grateful for your time here on Newsnight, Mr. Bonfe. So maybe I require a yes or no answer to start with on this. Are you voting on December 7th as an Adventist?
Let me issue a disclaimer first. I am not a member of the communication team.
Okay.
I only served on the committee that the 2 conferences put together to work with the Electoral Commission and other stakeholders seeking that the elections date be changed.
Okay.
In line with the National Constitutional Review Commission's work in 2011, the Electoral Reform Committee's work in 2015, and then the...
Thanks for the clarity on that. Yes. Thanks for the clarity on that, Dr. Bonfe. But I'm asking a specific question. At least you've done an extensive work for the church. You are a leading member of the church. Are you voting on December 7th? What exactly is the church directive?
God willing, I am voting.
Really?
Yes.
Is that what...
I see voting... not only in these elections, but all other national elections as both a secular and a sacred duty that imposes responsibility on us, on conscience, and also between us and our God and our societies. So it's a solemn exercise that, in my view and my understanding of what the Sabbath connotes, it speaks to it. But this may sound conflicting with the general view of what the leadership of the church...
Because it doesn't align with your religious beliefs. It's supposed to be a Sabbath day. It's for rest, worship.
And here's the point. The process of going through voting in Ghana has a tendency to go or distract you off the main exercise of voting. Going to take a ballot and then cast your vote according to what you want and going home. It may go beyond that, and that is where the issue of challenge with the sacredness of the Sabbath may come in. And it was to avert some of these things that we prayed that the date be changed. Not only for us, but also for worshippers on Sunday and also those who worship on Friday, because this year is happening. The next the next election date in 2028 or 2032 is likely going to be a Sunday, and then the next one will be a Friday, and then 28 years from now it will come again in full cycle. So we were projecting into the future and the present challenge, and fortunately for us, the nation itself had made efforts that we moved from 7th December as the elections date. And that's what we were hoping that would work. But
that did not happen. That did not happen. But going forward, though, at least your internal, just a minute, your internal memo, at least from what the church released in July 2024, actually talks about the fact that if you vote on the Sabbath, it is contrary to their understanding of the sanctity of the church. And I hear you say, as an Adventist, a staunch one of that you will be voting. Are you not departing from what the church is actually asking its members to do?
Okay, so I don't want to be seen in confrontation with the leadership of the church. But if you read that text very well, the last paragraph says that it is a matter that is left to individual members to decide. Interpretation and understanding. But
that same statement that you talk about, that paragraph ends by saying that they are urging members to prayerfully ensure that their decisions are consistent with the Adventist belief on the sanctity of the Sabbath above, and they explained it.
Yes, and that's what I've told you, that if I am going to vote and my vote is in sanctity with conscience, and it is not following a bandwagon, it is not following sloganeering, and I'm seeing it as a sacred duty, it is consistent. Challenging as it may be, because I have got to go and queue. So I must make sure that I'm going at a time when it will be less stressing for me to engage in any activity that will take away the sanctity of the vote that I will cast. You see, there's this point that I need to make clear, that the Sabbath and its understanding has been given various interpretations, even within the Seventh-day Adventist Church. There are pastors who think that baptism on the Sabbath day is some work, but we baptize on the Sabbath day. And we think that it is correct. So the issue of the Sabbath, and that is why the church was very careful in saying that in the end, it will not legislate on it being right or wrong, but will leave it to the members to decide.
Which puts a sort of psychological, pressure on these members. You may be very, very educated and you would understand this extensively. How about those who would not really understand this and know that when they do this, they violate the church?
I'm happy that you are engaging me in this. That's why we are having this. That it is no sin to vote on Sabbath day. It is no sin. It does not violate to vote the law of God, to vote on the Sabbath day if your conscience is right.
Okay.
But I've explained prior to this that there are incidents and situations in the voting process in our country that may lend or create situations that will make it difficult for them. And that's why we were hoping that we could get they changed that. We didn't succeed.
Okay, but on that change, briefly, let's wrap up on this. On that change, since you work extensively with that committee, I would want to find out if we actually also explored the possibility of getting the EC to make special voting arrangements for your members on the 2nd of December.
By law, the EC could not do that.
Okay.
But, Emefa, the important thing is this. The Attorney General, the Electoral Commission, with the leadership of the church, there have been exchanges working towards 2028, making this a thing of the past. The Attorney General has already instituted a move to amend Article 1124. The Electoral Commission has written back. The church leadership has offered its advice, and I'm privy to that letter. So we are on that track, and it is on the basis of that I believe at the end of the day, the Adventists should cast a vote on the side of right, on the side of justice, on the side of equity, on the side of seeking education for all, on the side of making health a core issue in this country, and making sure that the safety, the security of our country is intact. Voting in that sense and supporting that our religious liberty will be respected, for me, is a vote in the right direction and will be consistent with the Sabbath in this case.
Okay, we are grateful. That's Dr. James Kwabena Bonfe, a staunch Adventist, one time a member of committees that the SDA put together in that push for the change of the December 7 election date. I'll stay a while longer on matters relating to the election. We'll head to the election headquarters shortly, but after extensive deliberation amidst a back and forth and various conditions, the opposition National Democratic Congress has announced its readiness to sign the 2024 Peace Pact at a ceremony tomorrow. However, the party maintains some reservations about the process. The signing of the fourth presidential elections Peace Pact will be organized by the National Peace Council and the Institute for Democratic Governance, IDEG, and is expected to have all presidential candidates of the various political parties participating in the December 7 elections signing the pact. Earlier, efforts by the council to secure the NDC's commitment faced resistance, especially from the camp of the NDC, which outlined a number of conditions. Well, we've been hearing from the NDC National Chairman, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, on this, providing insights into the party's stance and the remaining concerns.
It doesn't mean anything to us because all previous declarations have not been adhered to, and those declarations have not solved any problem. You have violence, whether you sign declaration or not. We don't accept the fact that we should let bygones be bygones. Because crime has no expiry date. The people who have been killed and maimed are people's fathers, breadwinners, sisters, so on. And the cases are live. People are calling for justice.
Well, member of the Peace Council, Movi Wahab, is urging the various parties to let go of previous events.
Here to appeal that to you to kindly do your best to erase any animosity whatsoever if it does exist. Any suspicion whatsoever if it does exist. We are only here to plead that let us decide and agree to make a start. And it is never too late to make a start. Our plea is let us let bygone be bygone. Not that we forget it. No sensible person can forget his past. Because the past can always guide us as we move ahead. But we can shelve it with the hope that, yes, we will be able to do better. We have what it takes to do much better than we are doing now. And that must be collaborative.
And we've been hearing from the chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Ernest Edujemfi, says all is set for the event tomorrow and similar events will be held in the various regions.
We want to let the public to know that for this year's election, we are doing Peace Pact in 25 constituencies, in addition to the National Peace Pact. So some Peace Pact will take place in some other constituencies that we think and we classify as some hotspots. And so we are working towards all of these things. I think in the coming days, a lot more information will put up in the public domain. But for now, it takes time to get commitments from everybody. And those are the things we are working on.
That's the chairman of the National Peace Council, Reverend Dr. Ernest Edujemfi. All is set for the fourth signing of this presidential peace pact tomorrow here in Accra. But we know that as it stands now, the former president, John Dramani Mahama, is on a campaign tour of the Western region. Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, the NPP presidential candidate, is here in the Greater Accra region. We'll be talking about him shortly. But let's check on whether the NDC's presidential candidate will be participating in this event tomorrow. We're told that there's a U-turn on this, but what exactly is it and where is he as we speak? Maxwell Agbagba is with the team as they campaign in the Western region, and he joins me on the line. Maxwell, I'm sure you've been finding out from the camp of former President John Dramani Mahama. To start with, where is he as we speak?
So, about 20 minutes ago, he finished addressing party supporters at Asem Krigra in the Amenfi West constituency. So, yes, we know for a fact that the NDC presidential candidate will be in the Greater Accra region tomorrow. He's wrapping up with the Western region tour this evening. He has 2 more constituencies to visit this evening. That's the Amenfi Central and Amenfi East constituencies. We know there are some outstanding constituencies he's expected to visit in the Greater Accra region tomorrow. I've been engaging a highly placed source with the campaign, and that person can confirm that indeed he will be in the capital tomorrow, but cannot confirm if he will be signing a peace pact or not. We're told to hold on. That confirmation or denial will be coming later. But the NDC presidential candidate, John Mahama, on the campaign trail has said before that for a peace pact to be effective, the Electoral Commission, Chief Justice, and Inspector General of Police must all sign and commit to peace and justice ahead of the country's election. Now, I remember the governance forum in Accra some weeks ago. He stressed that elections are not just about 2 political parties, but also involve other stakeholders who must commit to justice and peace. So as it stands now, we're still waiting for the confirmation or denial on whether he will be signing the peace pact tomorrow or not. But we're told that the press corps has been informed that he'll be in the capital tomorrow, and we're likely going to be traveling this evening to the Greater Accra region tonight.
Okay, well, we'll be checking on that closely, and we've been trying to also work the lines from here to find out whether he will actually be on the program tomorrow. We're yet to get any confirmation, but let's check on the Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia camp. Of course, we'll be hitting the campaign trail on what they are up to, but Kenneth JC has been with the NPP presidential candidates all week, I should say, and he joins me in the studios. He's in Accra, right?
Yes, he is in Accra. Today he commissioned the 100 electric buses that are to be piloted within the Greater Accra region. Yesterday too, he went to a number of constituencies here in the Greater Accra region, including the Ayawaso Central, in Sawem Adwejri in the Eastern region, Ablekuma Central as well. And then from what we know right now, we have no indication as to whether he's going to sign or participate in a peace pact or not. We've not been briefed on that. But per the schedule of the campaign, from tomorrow through to Sunday, he's supposed to be in Oti, Volta, Ashanti, and the Eastern regions for the final lap of the campaign. But as I speak to you now, we do not have any indication as to whether he's going to participate in the signing of any peace pact or not.
Okay, well, and we'll definitely be checking on this. And thankfully, we've been joined on the phone by Dennis Miracle Abuaji, the communications director of the Bawumia campaign. And thank you so much for your time here on Newsnight, Mr. Miracles. Really, we just first off want to find out, will Dr. Bawumia be signing the peace pacts tomorrow?
Hi, Emefa. Yes. I mean, surely he's going to sign the peace pact. He's very committed to it. I mean, in spite of all the back and forth and the conversations going on, we have one Ghana.
Oh dear, I've just lost Miracles Abuaji there on the line, but at least we got the story that indeed Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia will be signing that particular pact tomorrow. He's back on the line. We lost you. I'm sorry for that rude interruption. So you were telling us that indeed he will be signing a peace pact tomorrow. Yes,
absolutely. Dr. Bawumia will be signing the peace pact tomorrow. He's very committed to the peace and sanity of the state, and he believes that whatever he has to do to contribute towards ensuring that we go through this election successfully without affecting the safety, security, and peace of this country, he will do it.
And he has expectations from the other candidates, because the concern also is that, at least before you talk about the expectations from the other candidates, they say it goes beyond just signing the peace pact. Is he really going to be committed to what the content of this pact will be?
I think of all the 12 candidates on the ballot, I don't think, even if I ask you to mention one thing that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has done or has said or may have done or may have said that could affect the peace of this country, you would have even one. He has always been a very peaceful person. He's very, in terms of his commitment, his peaceful nature, his respect, the decorum with which he's carried about his campaign and all of that. It's without doubt. And so if you're going to look for one person on the ballot you can trust to commit to ensuring that we have peace and in this process, it's surely Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, and there's no debate on that. So yes, he also is of the view that it goes beyond the peace pact. But if signing the peace pact is one of the activities or one of the things to do to show and send an indication to your followers that you are committed to ensure that we go through this process peacefully, then he's going to do it. But beyond the peace pact, whatever it takes that he has to do as a leader of the leading political party in this country, he is going to do that. And I think it's a very important step.
And away from the peace pact, though, I was asking if he's also expecting the other candidates to do same. Is he hopeful that all the other presidential candidates will be part of the process tomorrow?
I mean, why not? I mean, it's an election we are going into. Okay. We are not a war, you know, and it's not supposed to be war. It's just competing ideas. And so Dr. Bawumia is of the view that everybody must show that commitment. Everybody must step forward and get this done. What the signing of the pact does, or not signing, what not signing the pact does is that you are sending an indication to your people that you are not committed to peace. Okay. And that wherever they find themselves, they should do whatever it is that they want. And that you as a leader, you are giving them that indication to do as they please. And so he believes that it's important, it's extremely important for all the other candidates to sign the peace pact, at least as a symbol of their commitment to ensuring a peaceful election period. And I think it's very important that we all call on the other candidates to follow suit. All other things that need to be done would have to be done. So beyond the signing of the pact, every other thing that needs to be done by all the leaders of the political parties would have to be done. And Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia is committed to anything, whatever it is that needs to be done to protect the peace and sanity of this country. He's committed to it.
Now that you're here, though, Mr. Abuaji, are you on an inauguration and commissioning spree? What exactly is happening?
Well, if that's a definition, why not? The government has had several projects completed, and it's important that these projects are commissioned for the people to use. And so if that's a description to it, why not? We are glad. We would wish that all governments would go on an inauguration spree.
How many more are we going to see before the elections?
A lot more. There are a lot more. Yes, okay. And so we should expect a lot more.
Well, I've lost count, but let's talk about the buses today, the electric buses. Some have already started talking about the schedule. At least the first bus leaves at least at 8 a.m. People say they would have been at work. Really, who is the target then?
Well, I think that it will be the CAPT and the Metro Mass who really speak to the schedule, you know, because I mean they are the managers of the routes and really the terminal, so they will be able to speak to it. But what is important is that it's a solution that Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia believes needs to be injected into our transport space as one of the ways in reducing our cost of living. Because I mean clearly a lot of Ghanaians commute on a daily basis, and if the fares are high, it goes directly to affect their cost of living. And you're already aware that in Ghana, once fares go up, prices of goods also go up. And so with the introduction of electric vehicles, which without doubt straight away is reducing our fare cost by 50%, it's just an indication that if we take that route, we would be able to make some gains in the public transport space. And like he said today at the commissioning, the idea is to get private sector to get on board, to get the trotro owners to get on board. Let's all redirect our attention and focus towards electric vehicles as a way of public transport and as a way of reducing the cost of public transportation to our citizenry.
We'll get to talk more about it, but as part of the inauguration, are we going to see Agenda 111? Because yesterday I heard him say that he will complete it when he comes into office. The concern is why are we not seeing the commissioning of it?
As you speak, we have some close to about 45 or so Agenda 111 almost completed. I mean, when it's almost completed, installation of equipment in these hospitals, some are even done. You should expect that in the next few days before the elections, we should have some of them being inaugurated. I think yesterday or so, I may be wrong, but I think yesterday also Swami also was commissioned. by the president. So yes, expect from a General One Commission as well.
We are grateful. That's the communications director of the Bawumia campaign team, Dennis Miracle Abuaje, and we'll go for business with George Riafe. We return with more from the campaign trail in your election headquarters. George, what's up?
Coming up in business, Bank of Ghana moves to mop up excess city liquidity as the new Ghana gold coin goes on sale, and automobile firms describe local assembling program as good despite some challenges. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationers, Interstanks and Pepsodent, Herbal and Charcoal.
My man, I heard there's a new app on the streets that does it all for you.
Ah, really? How is that possible?
Charlie, I also could not believe it too. But I downloaded the app and I'm telling you, I was able to chat with my friends, make video calls and...
Well, we know of many apps that can do that.
Oh, let me finish la. I was also able to listen to the latest songs, play games and read the latest sports news.
For real?
Yeah, and I can send and receive money from the app. Amazing, no?
What's the name of this app?
It's called Ayoba.
Ayoba?
Yeah, Ayoba.
Get Ayoba, your all-in-one app that lets you chat, call, share, play, pay, and listen to music all in one app for everyone. Enjoy Ayoba with MTN and download the Ayoba app today. Everywhere you go.
Hooray! The Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited is organizing its end-of-year furniture promotional sales from the 15th of November to the 31st of December this year. Kingdom Books and Stationery is giving away a whopping 10 to 15% discount on all furniture at our furniture shops. Head office, Akweje, Osu near the Osu Cemetery, Tema, Comty 4, Takrady, opposite Vijay Mays Plaza, Cape Coast, University Bookshop, Spintex Road near Absa Bank, Atomic, Centerpoint Mall, Winneba, University Campus, KNUSD, the University Bookshop, Santasi in Kumasi. You can also visit and shop online at www.kingdomstoreonline.com. Hurry while stock lasts. For further inquiries, contact us on 050-162-0810 or 0302-764101 or email us at info@kingdomgh.com. Kingdom Books and Stationery Limited, where quality and affordability is assured. Terms and conditions apply.
Yeah. We have a new leader in town. Obiarenti. Amafo. Madam was Sibebre. When him say my baby, maybe more charcoal for whiter teeth. More charcoal. Not only that, maybe lemon. More lemon. Zinc for fresher breath. More zinc. And fluoride for stronger teeth.
Introducing the new President Charcoal Pack with more power with a combination of charcoal and lemon for naturally whiter teeth. Grab yours now. This advert is FDA approved.
From the classroom to the lab, from the village to the city, the NPP's commitment to education is building a brighter Ghana. Free SHS isn't just about free tuition, it's an investment in Ghana's future. We have topped it up with free TVET and STEM education, skilled graduates, innovative thinkers, and a thriving economy. That's the promise of free SHS.
3 of my cousins have benefited from free SHS since 2017. One has graduated and is in nursing training. The other 2 are also in the university. I'll vote number 1. I'll vote for Bawumia on December 7th.
We are building a better tomorrow through education. Vote NPP. Vote number 1. Vote Bawumia. Bawumia means business. Esro.
Santopia is offering up to 30% off your favorite fragrances, skincare, and makeup from 29th November to 1st December on all in-store purchases. Opening from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. each day, visit any of the 9 stores located at Accra Mall, Achimota Mall, West Hills Mall, Osu Mall, ANC Mall, Palace Mall, Spintex Road, Junction Mall, Kempinski Galleria Mall, and Kumasi City Mall in Kumasi. Don't miss out on this Black Friday sale. For more details, call or WhatsApp 0552 772 018. Santopia, a scent for every occasion.
Ago Omambapa.
The time to exercise your civic duty is here again. This year, we, the good people of Ghana, have another opportunity to elect our leaders on December 7. This is a very important national exercise, and you have the civic duty to make that decision for Ghana. Don't be indifferent because your vote counts. Vote on issues. Don't sell your vote. Reject violent candidates and expose acts that undermine the integrity of the elections. Don't attempt to snatch a ballot box or deface political party posters. The law will deal with you. December 7, 2024 is election day. Pick up your voter's ID card. Get to your polling station. Follow the voting process. Make that bold decision for Ghana. Vote peacefully. Ghana must win. Vote on December 7. It's your civic duty.
Civic duty required of you as a Ghanaian. So get involved and vote.
A message from the National Commission for Civic Education, NCCE.
You're welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Now, the Bank of Ghana is now deploying additional monetary tools to help check excess liquidity on the market. This is because the Ghana Gold Coin has finally gone on sale after it was launched in September this year. Details in this report.
The Ghana Gold Coin went on sale this week after the Bank of Ghana on Monday released the pricing guideline for the product. This was updated on Tuesday, which showed that if you want the quarter of an ounce gold coin, then you should be prepared to pay 11,188 Ghana cedis. For those that want a half of the ounce of gold coin, then it will cost them 22,409 cedis. On the other hand, an ounce of Ghana coin based on the price quote from the London Bullion Association will pay 45,000 Ghana cedis. The Bank of Ghana has argued that, based on the performance of the gold prices on the world market, it could encourage more persons to invest in this alternate investment instrument that could be used to mop up what the Bank of Ghana describes as excess cedi liquidity on the market. It has also been argued that the high inflation rate can largely be linked to the market liquidity issues, so if the Bank of Ghana is able to perfectly check it, that could affect the inflation rate. We should also not forget about how this move could also help in stabilizing the Ghana cedi in these times.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, automobile firms in the country have described the local assembling program as good despite some challenges. Government in 2023 outlawed the Ghana Automotive Initiative seeking to encourage more firms to assemble their vehicles locally. Jeffrey Propon James is Chief Executive of VW Ghana and President of the Automotive Association of Ghana. He spoke to Joy Business at the launch of the VW's new Amarok car here in Accra.
I think I like the way the Bank of Ghana is intervening as and when it's necessary. Of course, also carefully guarding forest reserves.
Sorry for that wrong sound. Now, more financial institutions are now accepting immovable assets as collateral for loans. Now, that's the verdict after going through the third quarter collateral registry report released by the Bank of Ghana. We have details in this report.
I think I like the way the Bank of Ghana is intervening as and when it's necessary. Of course, also carefully guarding forest reserves. This Gold for Reserves program itself is also helping and ensuring that banks and other financial institutions respect the exchange regulations.
The development is a departure from what often happens in the past when it comes to collateral for a loan. This is because financial institutions used to depend on buildings and land as collateral for loans. However, it appears challenges in disposing these assets when people default have now been a major challenge for these financial institutions. Hence, their decision to fall on assets that can easily be liquidated. The collateral registry showed that individual borrowers constituted the largest recipient of the secured loans, representing a significant jump from what was recorded in the same period for last year. It also emerged that patronage of the collateral registry has picked up strongly for the third quarter of this year.
And that is a Business Desk report. Now, Consolidated Bank Ghana has reaffirmed this commitment to developing the small and medium-sized enterprises sector with the opening of the second Christmas fair in Accra. Director of Retail and Business Banking has been speaking to Joy Business after the opening of the Christmas fair at the Accra SME Hub here in Kukumlemle.
It's a fair that we organize every year. This is the second one.
we started last year. What are we seeking to do? We are seeking to bring buyers and sellers of products together. And you would agree with me that Ghana is about SMEs. We've positioned ourselves as a bank that is here to serve SMEs. So we've put together all our micro SMEs, our small SMEs, all our medium SMEs. Everybody is here at the CBG Fair, inviting everyone across the length and breadth of the city. Come to the CBG Fair, come and get something from here, come and learn a few things about what we do at CBG, and I can assure you, you'll not walk away the same.
Director of Retail and Business Banking at Consolidated Bank Ghana, Emmanuel Niko, letting attention to the stock market. And if you are a shareholder of MTN Ghana, each share that you're holding was up by peso today and it's now worth 2 Ghana cedis, 37 pesos. If you're also a shareholder of EcoBank Transformational, it was up by a peso to close at 29 pesos. If you have invested on the Ghana Stock Exchange from the beginning of this year to now, investments have gone up by almost 50%. That could be one of the highest returns that you've posted on most of the investment tools out on the market. And that's all for business on Newsnight. Back to you.
That's all for business on Newsnight. Well, let's do sports. Danny Cranting.
Let's go straight into the stories. And the Ghana Football Association has announced a 1-week break for all its competitions in December. In a statement released earlier today, the GFA said the decision was made to allow participants to exercise their civic responsibility during the national general election scheduled for December 7 per the GFA's 2024-25 season calendar. The Ghana Premier League Division 1 League Women's Premier League and all competitions will pause after this weekend's matches. This includes the MTN FA Cup round of 64 games and match day 6 fixtures of the Women's Premier League. Football will resume the following weekend beginning Friday, December 13th. Now, Asante Kotoko, they have announced the appointment of club legend and 2-time CAF Champions League winner Malik Jaber as their new technical director. Jaber, who boasts a rich history with Kotoko, replaces Sudan head coach Kwesi Appiah, who previously occupied the role. However, the club has confirmed Kwesi Appiah will continue to serve as a member on the management team. Now, match day 5 of the UEFA Champions League continues later tonight, and our featured game on Hits 103.9 FM will see a matchup between European club Royalty when Liverpool hosts Real Madrid at Anfield. That's all for sports. Back to you, Emefa.
Thank you, Danny Cranting. Some of your messages, briefly, let's go through them. Principles are different from practices. One can sign the peace pact but not committed to it. Please, action speaks louder than words. In 2020, they signed the pact, but 8 lives were lost. And we're hoping that that will not happen again. And we have this one also in Kanda, Mashoud Ibrahim Bishela in Kanda Accra says, kudos to the Speaker of Parliament for rejecting the request by the NPP minority leader to recall majority leader, he is, you said minority, to recall Parliament. Since the NPP doesn't believe in the rule of law, the MPs can go and sit in the chamber tomorrow and pass any bill they want. Okay, so that's a Mashoot's message there. We have a number more of some of your messages. When will we cease to be jokers? We allow one party to pack. Okay, I'm not getting it. Charles, I'm not getting your message, but it does appear that you're talking about the peace pact, but really very, very unclear. And this one also says, the call by the media coalition against Galamsey is misplaced, respectfully. The NPP government in power has refused to deal with Galamsey in the face of election and all the ramification. What is convincing the coalition that a deferred position will be implemented? You go on to also talk about the signing of the peace agreement. It says to you is immaterial because the government in power will not honor its part of the bargain. He takes an inspiration from what happened in 2020. He, however, calls on Ghanaians to be peaceful during the 7th December polls. And finally, you say once key stakeholders is agreed with the SDA on the Sabbath day voting, the stakeholders should arrange for their own venue for vote casting. That's voting can disrupt SDA church service on 7th December. Okay, but we are told that the church has allowed some of its premises to be used as polling stations. So Jonathan, definitely it's that decision lies with you. And this one also says it goes on. I'm sure he's talking about what we did on Top Story. And Nana Spintex, he says, as I indicated yesterday, Afenyo Markin must go back to the Supreme Court to get the judges to open Parliament for them. He has himself to blame for where things are currently. Surely he wouldn't have the number to push his business through in Parliament if he were to sit tomorrow. Some of your messages, truly appreciated that you're able to hit us with your messages both via WhatsApp and also on social media. Let's get into the election headquarters.
Election Headquarters is brought to you by Petrosol Platinum Energy, Energizing Dreams, Chopbox Technology, a convenient service, German Ozone Medical Center, Alternative Therapy, Dental, Wellness and Beauty, the Chartered Institute of Management Accountants (CIMA), and the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants (AICPA), together as the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. Youth Break Foundation, bridging the gaps for positive youth development. Syntex Tanks, Air Strong, Air Tough, Potential Real Estate, your trusted partner in real estate. Deluxy Paint, Paints Mu Champion.
And tonight, first, he told us not to be spectators, but to be citizens. Tonight, President Akufo-Addo says, as a citizen, you should express your presidential preferences openly. He deemed it irresponsible for anyone to remain silent on such a critical matter, urging all eligible voters to engage constructively in shaping the country's future. He's been addressing leaders of religious faith in the Ashanti regional capital, Kumasi.
The former president says that this contest is between him and Bawumia. I should keep out of it. I shouldn't. I don't understand whether he means I'm no longer a citizen of Ghana or what. But I should keep out of it. The most consequential decision that this generation of Ghanaians are going to make is the one on the 7th of December. The most consequential decision. In fact, in my view, it would be irresponsible for anybody to keep quiet about who their preference is. It's to say, which way Ghana should go. I am not going to keep quiet today, and I'm not going to keep quiet tomorrow. I will speak my mind on this matter. I am the first. Yes, some 80% of it has been complete. But 80% is not 100%. We need somebody obeba obetwa ejumano so. That's what we require at this stage in our history.
President Akufo-Addo there in Kumasi. Well, this evening also the concerns about security, the provision of security for presidential candidates has come on the front burner again following reported attacks on some convoys just 10 days before the general elections. Campaign teams of at least 2 candidates have been directly targeted. The independent candidate Nana Kwame Bediako's convoy was ambushed in Anyat Sotum, leaving 1 person injured and 2 vehicles damaged. Similarly, the NDC's or the NDP, National Democratic Party's candidate Alhaji Mohammed Frimpong and his team were also reportedly attacked by armed men near Winchi last night, leaving the rear windshield of his vehicle shattered. Well, we know that the attack on Nabediako's convoy in the Greater Accra region, where the candidate escaped unharmed but left media personnel traumatized, with a UTV reporter even withdrawing from the coverage.
The media team embedded with Nana Kwame Bediako's campaign convoy was left shaken and traumatized after a violent attack by a group of youth in the Soltium community. What began as a routine campaign stop quickly escalated into chaos when the convoy came under a hail of stones. Journalists and members of the campaign team were visibly distressed as they recounted their ordeal.
I was saying, no, there's not a costo. So that's where I don't know what to say. No, they can't cross. They don't lock me. I see the movement fast now. I said, carry. So that way, I switch. Can't follow doors. So inside, I can't pass by you. But that time, they were going to.
The attack reportedly stemmed from the youth's dissatisfaction that Nana Kwame Bediako had entered the community to campaign without first paying a visit to their chief.
And my colleague Collins Frimpong was the victim there. He was also part of that campaign yesterday. He's been narrating his ordeal in the newsroom. Really, it's raising the question about whether security should be provided. But we can hear from the NDP's presidential candidate narrate his ordeal with some armed men last night in the Bono region.
We went to time to do a community deba, for the NDP. We finished around 6 p.m. and then by 6:15 we set off from Namasa at a very hard land of time towards Wenchi. On our way, just around the outskirts of Akrubi, we passed one barrier, police barrier, which was not manned, but at a distance somewhere we saw a taxi driver who had knelt, and raised his arm.
Well, that's Alaji Frimpong there, the NDP's presidential candidate. Meanwhile, there's a push for presidential candidates to also sign a commitment to combat illegal mining. Whilst we're signing the peace pact, we're hoping that the presidential candidates will also sign a pact to end illegal mining. And during a forum titled Unpacking Galamsey, Uncovering Treasures in Responsible Mining, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, coordinator of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, reiterated the coalition's call for candidates to sign the pact.
Today, the Ghana Coalition Against Galamsey has sent a letter to the presidential candidates. We're inviting them to sign a pact, to commit to the fight against this illegality. The challenges of Galamsey that confront us is a leadership issue. It's leadership at various ends, but definitely at the political end, we need to make sure we get these issues resolved. We need to ensure that even the measures that government itself said is going to do, it's actually done. Because as we speak, we know the state of emergency was not declared. As we speak, people are on the water bodies. They are still damaging it. The LI has not been repealed. All of those issues still exist. So it is important that especially the NDC presidential candidate, the MPP presidential candidates would have to all commit to this particular pact that we want signed. We've sent a copy of the pact to them, the pact that we're going to sign to them virtually, and we will sign it. But that's why this time we're bringing the media on board and saying that this is what we're going to do. Those who decide that they are not going to sign the pact, they would be considered as enemies of the state.
That's the convener of the Media Coalition Against Illegal Mining, Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe there. And the countdown is on, and in some 3 days, the 40 health facilities nationwide are expected to begin offering free kidney, that's the dialysis, following a successful pilot program spearheaded by the National Health Insurance Authority. The life-changing program, fully funded by the government at an estimated cost of 20 million cedis annually, is set to provide critical care to about 600 patients battling end-stage kidney disease. However, some facilities, including the Teaching Hospital, we are told, are yet to receive additional dialysis machine. As we speak, we're checking if indeed it's coming tomorrow or when exactly those machines will arrive. But the NHI CEO, Dr. Da Costa Abuaje, earlier assured of a seamless rollout and long-term sustainability.
So the ministry's clearance from World Bank came earlier than the NHI. So the ministry took a delivery of 7 of them. They have actually installed in Kolebu. 23 currently is at the 23 of the equipment are at the port, and 15 more have actually been ordered. So what I'm just trying to let you know is that 45 of these machines will be delivered and for this exercise. But in our 2025 budget, we will definitely be procuring more. The World Bank and other partners are also expressing interest, so we are waiting to see. But our intention is to equip these facilities with the dialysis machines.
And that's the CEO of the National Health Insurance Authority, Dr. Da Costa Abuaje. That's how we end today's edition of Newsnight here on Joy 99.7.
Is it though? Is that how you end today's?
Yes, we are coming to you.
Okay, I'll wait.
Strong, and you ended it, so let's go. Nimwai,
Hi, Em.
is up next with Strong and Sassy. What are we talking
Today
about?
We're talking about dating ethics. So the question we're asking is, can you date